Moving on to the wildlife. You know the wildlife which is there in the Amazon rainforest. What are the different types of animals and birds that are found? The different varieties of animals and birds that are found in the Amazon rainforest. The first one is the anaconda. Second one is piranha. So first let us see what is an anaconda. Okay. So what is an anaconda? An anaconda is a semi-aquatic snake. It is a semi-aquatic snake found in tropical South America. The green anaconda is the largest snake in the world. The green anaconda is the largest snake in the world. If we take both weight and length in consideration. So when we consider the both weight wise also it is the largest snake, and the length is also considered, then this green anaconda is the largest snake in the world. So anacondas are semi-aquatic, that is they can also live on the land and they can also live in the water, right? And these are found in the tropical South America, and it is also the heaviest snake species in the world. Anaconda is also the heaviest snake species in the world. Then moving on to the next one, which is piranha. So what is a piranha? A piranha is a freshwater fish. It is a freshwater fish. It lives in only fresh water, right? It does not live in salt water or saline water. It lives in fresh water. Its head is very large and its jaws are very strong, and they have very sharp triangular teeth. Its jaws have sharp triangular teeth that can meet a scissor-like bite, that can give us scissor-like bite. So these are very dangerous type of fishes, and it is said that they can even devour any kind of animal or human being as well if they are very hungry. But it is said that piranha is that much dangerous, but it usually does not eat human beings, right? It does not, as it is shown in different movies. Piranha is not that deadly. It's just a freshwater fish with large head. The heads are very large, and they have strong jaws, and they have sharp triangular teeth, right? And these teeth give a scissor-like bite. And moving on to the next one, which is macaw. Macaw is also found in the Amazon basin. And what is a macaw? Macaw is a type of bird. It is a type of bird. Macaws are known as the giants of parrot world. Macaws are known as the giants of parrot world. They are a type of parrots. They are a breed, you can say it is a species of parrots, right? And they are very giant parrots. What is special about these parrots is that they have very long tails. They have very long tails and often very colorful. These macaws are also very colorful. They have different colors like green, yellow and blue. These three colors are very common in macaws. You can see the image of a macaw in the internet, right? Macaws are intelligent social birds that live up to 60 years in the wild. Macaws have a lifespan of 60 years if they live in wild. But if you keep a macaw in your home, then maybe its lifespan may not be that much, because they are not that happy as they would be in the wildlife, and they are not as healthy as they would be eating the white berries out in the Amazon. So macaws have otherwise a very good lifespan of about 60 years, right? And they have very loud calls. That is, their calls, that the way that they squawks or they scream is very loud, that it echoes in the forest canopy. Their squawks and their screams echo in the forest canopy. Many macaw parrots can even mimic human speech. Many macaw parrots can also mimic a human speech. That you can also train them how to talk. You can also teach them some certain words so that they can pronounce those words to you. So macaws can also mimic a human speech. Right. And moving on to the next one, which is 1 in 5 of all birds in the world. The Amazon rainforest have 1 in 5. Like if you pick 5 birds in the world, then at least one of it would be in the Amazon rainforest. If you take 5 birds in the world randomly, then one bird at least would be found in the Amazon, right? This is how rich diversity of birds are there in the Amazon basin. This is how rich variety of birds and animals are there in the Amazon basin, right? So it has 1 in 5 of all birds in the world. Then moving on to the next one, which is emerald tree boa and python. So what is an emerald tree boa? The emerald tree boa is a non-venomous boa. It is a non-venomous boa. It is not poisonous. It is not harmful to human beings. like certain snakes have a bite which can give a shot of venom into the body, and this venom can kill the person within a few minutes, and even in a few hours, or certain in a number of hours, right? So they are also very poisonous and venomous snakes, but this snake which is found in the Amazon basin, and the name is emerald tree boa. Emerald tree boa is not a poisonous snake. It is not a poisonous snake. Okay. And they are tree dwelling species. These species of snakes live in the trees. Emerald tree boa live in the trees. And they spend most of their time high up in the foliage. And the most of the time which they spend in the forest is high up in the branches of the forest. They prefer to be solitary, and these type of snakes like to stay alone. That is, they like to spend their time in solitary, right? They are not the type of snakes which live in communities, and they form their homes, and there are a lot of snakes living in that community. That's not like that. So emerald tree boa are non-venomous boas, non-venomous snakes, and they are tree-dwelling species. They live in the trees, and they spend most of the time high up in the foliage, and they prefer to be solitary. Then moving on to the next one, which is pythons. The next one is pythons. So what are pythons? Pythons are also non-venomous snakes. They are also non-venomous snakes, and they kill their prey by slowly squeezing it to death. So if this snake, which is python, has to hunt some animal or some rat, so how will it hunt that animal or rodent? It will hunt it by slowly squeezing it to death. It will wrap its tail, its body around the animal or the rodent, and it will squeeze it to death, and it will tighten its grip so much that the animal will ultimately die. So it will tighten its grip so much that the animal will ultimately die. So this is how the pythons kill. They are also not that much venomous. They just grip their targets and they squeeze them to death. And the world's longest snake is the reticulated python. The world's longest snake is reticulated python, and is also a part of python family. This snake is also a part of the python family, and all of the species within this family are non-venomous. All the type of the python snakes that are found in the world are non-venomous. All the python snakes that are found in the world are non-venomous. Right? Then moving on to the next one, which is hodzin. Hodzin is a type of bird which is also found in the Amazon basin. So let us learn more about the hodzin bird. The hodzin bird is also known as the reptile bird. It is also known as the reptile bird, or the skunk bird, or stink bird, or kanji pigeon. This is not important, but just note the word which is reptile bird. The hodzin bird is also known as the reptile bird, and it is a species of tropical bird found in swamps. So it is a tropical bird which is found in the swamps. It is riparian. It is the only bird with a digestive system that ferments vegetation as a cow does, which enables it to eat leaves and buds exclusively. This bird is the only bird in the world which has a digestive system like a cow, and it can digest the different plants and grasses just like a cow. So this bird can also eat different buds and leaves of the plants. So this is an interesting fact about the bird which is the hodzin. It is also known as the reptile bird, and it is a tropical bird which is found in swamps and mangroves of Amazon. Right? It is the only bird which has a digestive system like a cow, which enables it to eat the leaves and buds. Then moving on to the next point. Which is hummingbird. There is also hummingbird found in the Amazon rainforest. It is a very small bird. You can also see the picture which is there in your book. It is a very small bird, and it can also fly in any direction. Like most of the birds fly in this direction, but the hummingbird can fly in this direction also, in this direction also, and rightwards and leftwards also, and it can also stay in one place. No bird can stay in one place and keep flying. If a bird has to stay in one place, it will have to perch on that surface, but this bird, hummingbird, can keep flying, and it can suck the nectar of the flowers by just staying in that one position. It can suck the nectar of the plants or flowers, right? So this is a special characteristic of the hummingbird. And then comes the next point, which is most biodiverse region. The Amazon basin is the most biodiverse region in the world. What is the meaning of the word biodiverse? The meaning of the word biodiverse is it refers to all variety of life It refers to a variety of life that can be found in a region or area. Right? So all of the variety that can be found in a region or area is the biodiversity, and it also includes the animals, fungi, and microorganisms, as well as the communities that they form, and the communities that these microorganisms and fungi and animals form, right? And the habitats in which they live. So what does it mean that an area is biodiverse? If an area is biodiverse, it means that it has a variety of life in that area, and animals, fungi, microorganisms, community that they form, and the habitats in which they live. The different animals, fungi, and etc., and the communities that they form, and the habitats in which they live. The total of this comprise the biodiversity, right? All of these three things, which is the microorganisms, animals, and plants, and this one, which is the habitat in which they live and the communities which they form, and these three things together are called as biodiversity, right? So if an area is biodiverse, it has a variety of these three things: the habitat, the communities in which they form, and the different varieties of plants and animals. It refers to all the variety of life that can be found in a region or area: animals, fungi, microorganisms, as well as the communities that they form and the habitats in which they live. Then moving on to the next point, which is wide range of habitat. So Amazon rainforest has different types of habitats. It's not like it has just one habitat, and all of the different varieties of animals and different species of animals and birds are living in that habitat. It's not like that. This Amazon rainforest have different varieties or different types of habitats also. Not only the varieties or species of animals, but also there are different types of habitats for them, right? Then moving on to the people that live in the Amazon rainforest, the type of people that live in the Amazon rainforest. The first point is the Amazon rainforest is thinly populated. The Amazon rainforest is thinly populated. It is not very thickly populated. It does not have a lot of population living in the Amazon rainforest. And the second point is unfavorable for human habitation, as the condition of the Amazon rainforest are such that it is very uncomfortable for human habitation. It is unfavorable for human habitation. It's not a livable place. But still some people are living there. We will discuss about it in the later in the section. But for now, understand that it is unfavorable for human habitation. Now the different people are living there is another thing. How they have adapted to the living conditions of the Amazon rainforest is another thing. But if you and me were to go in the Amazon rainforest and live there, it would be very difficult for us, and it is not a favorable place for the human habitation. Right? And why it is unfavorable for human habitation? It is unfavorable for human habitation because of the hot and wet climate, because there is a lot of rainfall happening and the temperatures are always very high. The temperatures are high and there is always rainfall happening over the rainforest. It is very unfavorable for human habitation. Then, moving on to the next point, which is primitive tribes of native Indians, Kayapo, Tapuyas. So, there are different tribes of native Indians that live in the Amazon rainforest. What are the native Indians that live in the Amazon rainforest? These are the Kayapos and Tapuyas. And there is another one also, which is Jimbu. This is also another tribe which lives in the Amazon rainforest. So these two are more important. We will discuss about this. First, let us understand the meaning of the word primitive. What is the meaning of the word primitive? The meaning of the word primitive is something which is very in early stage of development. The word primitive means something which is in the early stage of development, right? So the tribes which used to live in the Amazon rainforest were the primitive tribes, that is, they were in the early stage of development, and they had not developed that much advanced in technology and learned the different arts and culture. They had rich in art and culture, but they were not as advanced like us. They did not know the different technologies as we know nowadays. And these primitive tribes were the Kayapo and Tapuyas. Let us learn more about these tribes. The Kayapos were known traditionally as fierce warriors. The Kayapos were fierce warriors, that is, they were very aggressive and they were warriors. Whenever there was an intrusion in their area, they would start firing the spears, they will start shooting the spears, and they will start different types of calls to gather the different people which are there in their tribe. So they will start calling out using different types of sounds so that all the people will gather and they will start a fight over there. They are very fierce warriors. So Kayapos are very fierce warriors, right? And they raided enemy tribes and sometimes fought among themselves. They even fought among themselves and they fought the enemy tribes as well. And they raided their tents and their houses. A Kayapo chief wears ceremonial feathers. A Kayapo chief is the head of the tribe and he wears the different colored feathers as a crown on his head. So, a Kayapo chief wears ceremonial feathers as part of his headdress. A headdress made out of bright golden yellow feathers, and the color of the feathers is bright golden yellow for the Kayapo chief, right? Feathers look like the rays of the sun, and these feathers look like the rays of the sun. Particular family links are indicated by the use of matching parrot feathers. So, if you are a member of the Kayapo tribe, then you will wear matching parrot feathers. You will wear a headdress which has the matching parrot feathers. Like if your brother or your sister has a headdress which has a green color of feather or a red color of feather, then you will also have to wear a headdress with the same color, with the same pattern, right? So to mark that both of you belong to the same family. So these were the Kayapos. Then let us see the next point, which is maniocs. The maniocs and the cassava or the tapioca, maniocs or cassava and the tapioca are the foods that are eaten in the Amazon rainforest. The maniocs or the cassava and the tapioca are the foods that are eaten in the Amazon rainforest. What are maniocs or cassava? A manioc or cassava is a woody shrub and grows in tropical climate. It is a woody shrub and it grows in tropical climate. It is cultivated for its edible root. The root of the manioc, it is like a sweet potato. So the manioc is like a sweet potato. It looks like a sweet potato, and it is cultivated for its edible root. The root of this plant is edible. You can eat the root of the plant. The manioc must be cooked properly to detoxify it, but you have to cook the root properly so that you can remove all the toxins from the root and can be used in dumplings, soups, stews and gravies. And this manioc can also be used in different soups, stews, dumplings and gravies. Gravies are the liquid part which is there in your vegetables that you eat in your dinners, right? Then what is tapioca? We saw that the maniocs and cassava were like the sweet potatoes and these were cultivated for their edible roots. And then what is tapioca? Tapioca is a starch extracted from the root of cassava plant. So when you extract the starch from the cassava plant root, it is called a tapioca. It is the starch extracted from the root of the cassava plant and it is formed into sticks or rectangles or spheres. It is formed into sticks, rectangles or spheres, and it is a type of starch which is extracted from the root of the plant, maniocs or cassava. Then moving on to the next point, which is shifting cultivation. The people of Amazon basin exercise a practice which is called shifting cultivation. It is a kind of subsistence agriculture. It is a subsistence agriculture, that is, it helps the environment to heal itself by itself, and it does not require any kind of additional planting of trees, and the forest over time heals by itself. So let us understand what is the meaning of shifting cultivation. Please note that shifting cultivation is also known as slash and burn and lada. It is also known as slash and burn and lada, and it is known as lada in Amazon basin. So shifting cultivation is a type of cultivation in which a small plot of land is cleared in the forest by slashing, like cutting off the trees and plants of that area, and these are then set on fire. These are set on fire and burnt down. The ash provides nutrient to the soil. Whatever ash is produced after the burning down of the forest, the slashing and burning down of the forest, this ash brings nutrient to the soil. This ash brings the nutrients to the soil, and the trees and plants start to grow after several years. The people there, what happens? The people there cut down the trees and they burn those trees and plants so that the ashes would provide nutrient to the soil. And in the meantime, at which time this is happening, the people or the tribe would move to some other area of land where there is rich fertile soil. They will start growing the plants over there, and in the meanwhile, over some years, this land which was burnt down and the ashes were spread throughout the land, this land will regain its nutritive properties. It will regain its nutrition, and all the nutrients from the ashes would seep down into the ground, and new plants would start to grow by themselves. So as you can see that it is a kind of subsistence agriculture, because the people did not have that much the forest to grow. The forest grew by itself over several years, right? So this is called shifting cultivation. Then moving on to the next point, which is hammocks. So there are hammocks which are used by the people of the Amazon. And what is a hammock? A hammock is a sling. It is a sling, right, made of fabric, rope or netting. It is a swing made of fabric, rope or netting. You can either use a fabric, a piece of cloth, or you can also use ropes. You can also use ropes, and you can also use different types of nets. You can also use different types of nets to suspend 2 points. To suspend this hammock between 2 points, and it is used for swinging, sleeping and resting. This hammock, which is suspended between the 2 points with the use of fabric, rope and netting, is used for swinging, sleeping and resting. It is in the shape like this. Like if these are 2 trees, then the hammock is hung from this side to this side, and it can also be a net, or it can also be a fabric, and it is used for swinging and resting and sleeping. So now moving on to the next point, which is mallow. Next point is mallow. So what is the meaning of the word mallow? A mallow is a large apartment-like house, and the houses have steeply slanting roof. The mallow is a large apartment-like house, and it has a steeply slanting roof, right? And these mallows had a lot of rooms, and the families would live together in the different rooms of mallows from the patriarchal side, from the side of their parents. The family from the side of their parents would live in these big apartment-like houses which had slanting roof. So this was the type of houses in which the people of Amazon used to live. The tribe of Amazon used to live. Okay, so let's move on to the next point, which is which is Trans-Amazon Highway. So as we know that in the earlier time, the Amazon basin was a very thick and dense forest, and the land which was there in the Amazon forest was very damp. It was very damp, and it was very difficult to construct different roads on the land. The Amazon basin's land was very damp, and therefore it was very difficult to construct roads in that land, and therefore the major parts of the Amazon basin were quite unreachable to the people of Amazon and the nearby areas. The people who lived in the nearby areas and wanted to come into the Amazon rainforest could not travel along the forest because the ground of the forest was very damp and moist. So it was very difficult to construct roads as well, and so different types of vehicles could not pass from the forest. And the forest occupies a very large area, so it was very important to connect the different parts of the Amazon rainforest, because you cannot skip such a large part of land unexplored, and different types of vehicles that would have shortened their distance could have passed from the Amazon rainforest could not pass because of the marshy or moist land. So what happened that the river Amazon was the only route of communication. If the communication had to be done in the Amazon rainforest, the people would have to use the river Amazon. They would come by the river Amazon on their boats or ships, and that is how they would reach the different parts of the rainforest. And there were no roads. There were no roads, and this was only the road. This river was the only route of communication. It was difficult to construct roads in the soft waterlogged grounds through the deep forest. So in 1970, the opening of the Trans-Amazon Highway. In 1970, the Trans-Amazon Highways were opened, and which made the many parts of the forest accessible. With the opening of these Trans-Amazon Highways, the different parts of the forest became accessible. That is within the reach of the human beings. Then, see the different types of forest products that are there in the Amazon rainforest. A river, cinchona, used for making quinine. You know what is quinine? Quinine is a type of drug which is used in the treatment of different diseases such as the malaria. Quinine is a type of drug which is used in the treatment of malaria. This is also found in the Amazon rainforest. Different types of metals such as bauxite and gold is also there in the forest. But there is also forest fire and rapid deforestation happening in these rainforests. There is also forest fires. Why are these forest fires happening in the Amazon rainforest? These are happening because of the shifting cultivation which is practiced in these rainforests. Shifting cultivation involves the slashing down of the forest and burning down the forest, and all the action of the forest would be spread in the ground, but in the process of burning down the forest, they also set fire to the forest which they do not intend to burn down. So this starts a forest fire, and the Amazon rainforest, which is a very large area, starts to being set on fire, which is a very problematic situation because it is a very big rainforest. It is very difficult to extinguish the fire once it is started in the forest. Then there is deforestation. Because of this forest fire and shifting cultivation, deforestation is also taking place in the Amazon rainforest, and because this Amazon rainforest is a very important source of oxygen for the whole world and it is burning down, there are forest fires happening in the rainforest, it is also becoming difficult for us to manage the problem of global warming. Global warming is also on the rise because of the forest fires of the Amazon rainforest. See, I have drawn a Malaco house here. This is the type of house which was built in the Amazon rainforest by the different tribes that used to live in the rainforest. So this is a Malaco house and it has layers of straw and wood. These are the different layers of straw and wood which are used to build this Malaco house. And this house was the house which had large apartment-like structure and a lot number of rooms. There were a large number of rooms as well in which the family used to live. The family from the patrilineal side, which is the side of the father, used to live in these houses in the Amazon rainforest, right? So this was the Malaco forest. Then I also discussed in the climate section of the Amazon basin, the climate section, that see on page number 162, it is given that in the equatorial region the sun shines vertically for most part of the year. The sun shines vertically for the most part of the year. What does it mean? Is that this is the equator. This is the equator which is passing from the center of the earth, and the sun rays which are falling on this equator or equatorial region, this is the equatorial region. So the rays which are falling on the equatorial region are at the shortest distance from the sun and the earth. The distance between the earth and the sun is the shortest for the sun rays to travel, while this area is longer and the sun rays take time to reach these areas. And also this sunlight which is falling on this area is spread over a larger area as compared to the equatorial region. As you can see, the equatorial region is only this much, right? But this sun rays which are falling on the other sides of the earth, which are away from the equator, these sun rays fall on a much larger area of land, and because these sunlights are spread over a larger area of land, the temperature of this area is lower as compared to the temperature which is there in the equatorial region. And this is the major reason why the equatorial region experiences quite high temperatures, because the sun rays are falling directly over the smaller area, and here the sun rays are falling over a larger area. And because these sun rays are falling over a larger area, this area tends to have lower temperature as compared to the temperature in the equatorial region.